What's going on, guys, and welcome back to our Surviving Java series. Now, that was a little bit too close. There we go. Now, it's been around about a good week or two since I've done any recording. I've actually been caning out a lot of modded Minecraft lately. I've not been recording any of that modded Minecraft because I didn't realise how involved in it I was going to be getting. But yeah, I've just like 12 hours a day solid for like the last couple of weeks pretty much non-stop on it, just because I don't know, I get highly addicted to sort of modded Minecraft. I forgot how much I enjoy it as well when I first started playing it. I was like, oh yeah, there's like, at the moment we're doing all the mod 6 mod pack, and there's quite a lot of mods in it that I'm not overly familiar with, and then there's some that I absolutely love. So yeah, getting quite involved in that, but I wanted to come back and actually do some recording on vanilla Minecraft so I don't get out of the swing of things, because just trying to get back into a normal routine, because obviously playing non-stop on the same thing for 12 hours a day is just, it's not really healthy, to be honest with you, more than anything else. And there is a good few projects I actually want to get started on here. Now, that's not what I wanted to press at all. How do I bring up? Yeah, all my key bindings are different from obviously modded, so trying to get used to that. Where do we want to go? Waypoints. We want to go... Now, usually, if I didn't have this map mod, I've actually got a notepad next to me with a bunch of coordinates written down, but this is just so much more convenient. Flower Forest is where we want to go to. And how far away is it? It is 1700 meters, and I've not yet set up a portal there, so I guess I'll meet you over there. Okay, so we are now over here. It didn't actually take longer than around about 20 seconds to fly over here. Now, what we can see in the distance there is Mine Void's Valentine's area that they're working on. Hopefully it doesn't spread too far over this way, because this is the area that I had actually planned on building in. But I think we are more than far enough away. I think it just appears closer because it's still within render shot, and it's only within render because we're running the Optifabric. So the areas that you pass that are static actually get saved in a cache, so that your view distance on the client side is actually further than what the server settings are set as, which is pretty cool. Now, we do actually want to make sure that all of our villagers here that we have actually got left here, like, I'm not too sure how many of them have survived if the area's been loaded. And so we've definitely got one in the boat. As long as we've got 2, I think we are golden, and there should be, I'm assuming, 1. Yeah, there's 1 in that building, which is fantastic. And have we got any in here? Nope. Is it just the 2 that have managed to survive? I think we've got 1 stuck in this building as well. Yeah, that's awesome. So as long as we've got a few, that way we can set up a villager breeder and actually repopulate what I want to do over here. Now, the whole aim of this one, we've also got a guy in there. What I want to do is that we've got no consistent way of earning emeralds. Now, we have got our masons and our librarians, obviously, but they only go so far, and there's obviously only so many trades you can do. So what I was thinking of doing is in this sort of flower area, because there's a couple of farms that we're still yet to get sorted and put up. One of them is obviously a dye sort of producing area, which this area would be fantastic for, because it being a flower forest. We've got our villagers here, and I'll probably tear down this village and recreate a custom one in the area based around the sort of flowery theme. And we've actually, is that counted as a river biome? This is still flower forest. It's just like a little lake then. Is there a... Yeah, there is actually. We've got a river that runs through on the edge of here. And this is actually counted as a river. So that way we can set up like a ink farm as well, which is awesome news. I did actually prep for that. And I'm not sure if you can hear him in here. Sai actually helped me bring over a bunch of guardians. So we've got like 7 or 8 guardians sitting in there, because I want to use them for an actual ink farm. That's probably going to be in a later episode. Today's episode, what I really want to get done and started with is actually sort of leveling all of the trees in the area, creating a sort of safe zone around which we can work in. So obviously lining it all up, clearing all the trees, doing a boundary with some fencing mixed with, I'm assuming, oak and birch, considering we're going to have enough of that wood type. And then we can sort of naturify it with sort of stones and leaves going around the place, and sort of decorate it accordingly to sort of suit the area. And I sort of want to go with sort of fantasy fairyland style, so we can have like custom mushrooms and custom sort of flowers, like larger flowers, obviously not the little flowers that are dotted about everywhere. We also need to find decent areas for the actual flower farms for producing the dye, because we need to make sure the spot produces enough of the dye colours. And then yeah, there's going to be a lot of planning. Obviously a lot of ideas are in my head for this area, so I'm not overly sure as to which way I'm completely going about it. Like this I do think is a river, and it cuts directly in. Okay, so that is now flower forest, so this is river. Oh wow, so we just got like this little pocket here which is river, so that can be spot on for our ink sac farm, because going to the end in order to get black dye is a bit of a nuisance. So we've got that river, we've also got that and that. I'm not too sure if squids spawn over here. This is counted as ocean. Like, I'm not seeing any squids. Oh yeah, there. Well, we can see him still build a squid farm and see if we get any spawns over here, and just change this little pocket over here into a squid farm at some point. It's not immediately urgent, but it would mean clearing the riverbank just over there and that one over there. But what I'm going to do is probably jump into a time lapse of me clearing the area and getting a decent sort of fencing going around. And what have you got to trade, friend? You've got the mini blocks. Oh, he's actually got the mushroom mini blocks. Crap. I don't think I've got any mushrooms on me. And I don't think there's anywhere around here that would... Tell a lie, mind void. Let's see if you've got any, considering that you're going full on red in this area. Where is your storage? I will obviously repay mind void back in full. Going full on crimson quickly escape, because I don't want mobs spawning here, so when they come online they end up getting creepered or something like that. So we're just looking for, let's see if there's any red mushroom blocks. I'm going to go back and get that, and then we can jump into the time lapse, because they are sort of very, very rare occurrence. That guy is selling the actual mini mushrooms, and I like using them as mini mushrooms on end rods for light sources. So yeah, I'm going to do that, and there's actually a portal closer by, so thank you for that, Void. So I guess I'll catch you after the time lapse. Okay, so it's been a good part around about 3 or 4 hours clearing the entire village out tidying it up, sort of flattening some of the terrain because this thing went up pretty high. I've also moved 2 of the villagers over to there. It's it's going to be a temporary villager breeder because obviously we're going to want villagers in order to do the trading with. And we've just got a bunch of crops in there. They've been farming. There's no system to do the collection of the babies as of yet, but that will come after they start reproducing. I've also kept 2 of the ones that were over in the houses, and I've just penned them up inside because, well, there's no point getting rid of them if we're going to be moving them here anyway. I did actually kill 2 of them just because they weren't being cooperative and coming into the sanctuary area in the middle. I've also spawn proofed the entire area within the fence line with torches just for now. Obviously we're going to be doing hidden lighting to ensure that it's looking all nice and tidy afterwards. We are obviously going to be doing a lot more with the fences and just doing the odd oak and birch fences going around. We're going to be going around them with leaves and then little rock piles and formations, and we're also going to be decorating around the outside, especially in the plains area up there. I didn't realise that this was a plains biome up here, but yeah, this is where the village sort of spread up to. And what we will be doing is spreading flowers coming from down here, around here, custom large flowers as well as the smaller ones, with some lighting as well, just sort of like a nicer backdrop, because that backdrop up there is really nice compared to the other side. Like, when you're looking this way, really plain and boring. When you're looking this way, really colourful, different elevations. We're going to have our portal stay up there as well. I didn't even realise that we had a portal, but I had apparently made a portal. I'm assuming that the entrance to it is going to be down in my Nether Hub area, because there's definitely no portal leading onto the surface from it. Now, I'm fairly sure if I go through it, it will probably come through to one on the surface, like the roof of the Nether. But yeah, what we are going to have to do now though is I'm going to have to sort of break all the flowers, because where the flowers initially spawn does not mean that block is going to be reproducing that exact flower. So I'm actually going to have to go around, pick up all of these flowers, come over with bone meal and do the really tedious task of bone mealing every block until there's a flower on every block, so I know the exact best location to put a flower farm. And if need be, we can obviously put down 2 or 3 mini flower farms dotted around, but having just the one will be a hell of a lot easier. You also need to be careful with the elevation as well, because it's not just the X and Z coordinates that they affects the actual type of flower that spawns on the block. The Y value can actually count as well, because I have had it, I know for a fact on Bedrock it counts, not 100% sure on Java though, because on Bedrock I tested the flowers on the surface and then I built my farm around about 5 blocks lower, assuming that the flower locations would be the same all the way through the Y values, and no, they weren't. So I was missing around about 3 or 4 of the actual colour variants which I wanted, which meant I then had to do the tedious process, because obviously I wanted it underground at that point, that I then had to dig down layer by layer and check every single layer for the colours in that area. But this is going to be my life, like the next I'm sure in the next 20 to 30 minutes breaking flowers, so I'll probably listen to some music and do this, and I'll bring you back once I've bone milled the entire area and know exactly what flowers are on what spots. Alright guys, so after a good few hours of doing this bone mealing stuff, the areas of which the flowers are spawned, or the way that they sort of generate, is that they appear to generate in sort of waves of different variations. So you've got a wave of alliums, and then a wave of the azure bluets, and then a wave of the tulips, and then a wave of the cornflowers, and then oxide daisies, and then more tulips, and then, yeah, so it's like a repeating wave pattern sort of going on. And the situation being is that if I was to try to get every single type of flower encompassed within a farm, I'd have to have either a very, very, very large farm, or I'd have to have multiple little ones. Now, this area I didn't want littered with just flower farms. I maybe wanted that in like one small section, and then the rest is like villager housing with like custom mushrooms and custom flowers. But with the way that the flowers are sort of segregated from one another, it looks like we're going to have to go a different route. And by go, I mean I've already gone a different route because I know that time in the video is getting on, so I wanted to actually accomplish something in this video. So I done what I said I wasn't going to do, and I dug down and I tested the floor out to make sure that we've got every single type of flower, and it looks like that we do, which is all happy days. We've got the I made sure that it stretched over into the river biome, so that way we got the dandelions as well. So we've got dandelions, poppies, the alliums, the azure bluets, red tulips, orange, tulips, white tulips, pink tulips, oxeye daisies, cornflowers, lily of the valley, and then more like oxeye daisies and cornflowers. The cornflowers I'm quite happy is the majority of them, because using lapis for blue dye is a little bit tedious, because I ended up having to trade with the clerics in order to get lapis to turn into blue dye, which is not exactly ideal. When that was when I was building my magma farms. It's been a good while since I've done any decent proper strip mining, because I've not needed any other resources besides lapis. Like diamonds is an issue, obviously, but nevertheless, what we're going to be doing is having a two-way flying machine, which I've sort of mocked one up, and I'm terrible with flying machines, so this is like after about 5 variations, this is the one that I've sort of landed on. And we need to see if we can actually stick enough blocks on this in order to get the glass underneath to stay on. Now, I don't know if I'm going to have to alternate where the glass is. So if we have like 2 blocks, say, there, and then 3 blocks there, is that not going to overwhelm it? It shouldn't, should it? Hopefully, he says. And then where it's going to be going across I think every 7 blocks, like 7 block gap, I'm going to be having an observer, which then feeds around to a dispenser underneath the ground, which is going to be fed by bone meal fire hoppers on the other side. So that way we can auto fill this thing as well, because that will be a nightmare having to do it manually, like try to find the dispenser every time or go underneath to every dispenser, but we could do that automatically, so that's not an issue. And then it should just drag all of the flowers all the way to the end and then drop it off. Where the actual glass is sitting on here, I'm going to dig out and have water streams carry the items away to be sorted. This is literally just a test run before we end today's episode off to see if I've managed to work a flying machine correctly or not. So you can see, okay, yeah, so it's left that glass block for some reason. Maybe we need to alternate, because that's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It can definitely carry. Oh, I'm an idiot. You need slime blocks to connect them, don't you? What a donut. Yeah, don't worry. I now see where I went wrong before you yell at me. Usually I get Mac on to do the flying machine crap. Oh, I didn't turn that side off. Yeah, so where this has obviously pushed it off, we're going to have a drop down there where all the flowers go. I should really go to the other end and try to switch it off. Excuse me. Let's get down here. Now the whole point I've not gone for a shifting floor design on this is because I know how laggy shifting floors can be, especially when you mix it with bone meal. And having one this long of a shifting floor design and having hundreds of entities by the time the flying machine reaches it is not going to be ideal. So if we have a couple more blocks there and another block there, I don't know if these are counted as 2 separate sections, because technically this section is flying and then this section is flying. They're just getting activated differently, but we can see. Okay, yeah, so it's taken them all, which is good, and it's still flying, so that's always a positive thing. Lag spike. So yeah, instead of having a shifting floor design, I've gone for this, so that way it will fly past a section. Once it's cleared that section, it will send a signal to the observer, where I'll send a delayed signal to the dispenser underneath to dispense bone meal, dead center to get some more flowers. And it's not going to be the quickest flower farm in the world, but it will still allow me to enjoy playing in the area, unlike other flower farms when you just lose your frame rate completely. But look, it's dropped all of the flowers down there nice and neatly for us to be able to collect in water streams. So that is all working 100% fine. We'll obviously run this up to a clock and then run the switch up top. So and then we'll have a collection system down here, so it does a run on its way back and on its way through. So yeah, as far as flower farms go, Jack just decided to join us. They're actually going to help me sort out the collection system for our villager breeder. because we're going to have to get that sorted in order to populate the area, because we're going to want a bunch of the, I believe it's the shepherds that trade emeralds for dye, and we obviously are going to want a sheep farm of sorts in order to get the maximum efficiency out of trading. God, my inventory is so full. So yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed today's episode. I know it's been a little bit all over the place, and to be honest with you, it's been 95% prep work for the projects that are going ahead here, but technically it's now the majority of the prep work done and out of the way with, which is fantastic. So hopefully you've enjoyed today's episode, and hopefully I'll catch you all in the next one. Bye bye.